My son, who earns a lot of money, and you, who don't work, don't get along, I said to her firmly, trying to maintain my composure. My son and I want to live here now, so please leave right away. One day when my husband, who usually stayed in his room, was out, the intercom at my house buzzed persistently. When I opened the door, to my surprise, my mother-in-law stood there looking excited. "Hello, mother-in-law," I greeted her, masking my surprise. "What brings you here at this time?" But before I could say anything else, she scolded me for not answering the intercom right away. She didn't believe I was working. She said I was just being lazy. I tried to explain, but she didn't listen. She thought it was unfair that I lived a comfortable life here without working while benefiting from my son's salary. She said my son and she wanted to start a new life here without me, and she handed me divorce papers to sign. I was shocked, but I didn't let it show. I calmly signed the papers. Inside, I felt relieved, but inwardly, I couldn't help but chuckle at how much she misunderstood. She didn't know anything about me. My name is Amelia, and I work from home as a freelance writer and editor. I used to work for a publishing company, so I've used that experience to maintain a stable income. Even when I worked at the publishing company, it was normal to work late or on weekends. But the pay was good, and with salary bonuses and rewards from copyrights, I saved a lot. Despite the ups and downs of freelancing, I've been able to live comfortably. I met my husband Lucas while we both worked at the publishing company. He was an aspiring writer, and I supported his passion. Eventually, our appreciation for each other turned into love, and we got married. At first, our marriage was fulfilling. We supported each other's careers. After we got married, I switched to freelancing from home. Until then, I believed that both my husband and in-laws understood and appreciated my work and income. But over time, it seemed like they misunderstood my work more and more. My in-laws held traditional values from their generation. Working from home wasn't common for them, and they saw freelancing as unstable compared to my husband's regular job. So they didn't value my work as much. Additionally, Lucas began boasting to his parents about his success as a renowned writer. Because of this, my in-laws' cold attitude towards me intensified. Every time we met, they'd make sarcastic remarks like, "Oh look, it's Amelia who doesn't seem to work much. What brings you here today? Looking for a job recommendation?" I tried to reassure my mother-in-law about our financial situation, saying, "If you're concerned about our living expenses, I apologize, but I'm earning well, so there's no need to worry." But she responded sarcastically, implying that I should be more grateful to Lucas because without him, I'd be in trouble. My mother-in-law had traditional values from her generation, where women typically managed the household while men worked outside. Seeing my work from home, she likely assumed I was avoiding housework. This story highlights the differences in generations and cultures, as well as the misunderstandings and challenges within a family. Freelancing means that you can earn a good income even without going to an office and working from home. Nowadays, with technological advancements, we can work from anywhere, and my job falls into that category. However, my mother-in-law responded angrily, accusing me of talking back and calling me an unpleasant daughter-in-law. She insisted that it wasn't natural for a young woman to spend her days messing around with a computer at home. These kinds of conversations have been happening more often lately, and I was honestly getting tired of it. I bit back my retort, thinking, not this topic again. In reality, I was the main breadwinner and handled most of the housework. But I didn't say it out loud. At first, her complaints only came up when Lucas wasn't around, but recently she'd been openly criticizing me, especially during family dinners at her house. It felt more like a session to criticize me than anything else. Despite being invited, only Lucas's portion of food would be on the table, and there was no seat for me, making it very uncomfortable. Moreover, I heard unpleasant comments from her and my father-in-law about me to other relatives. I was often surprised and hurt by their attitudes, but what irritated me more was Lucas's silence. They saw Lucas as a successful author and relied on him for money, often asking him to buy things. This was funded by the money I earned. Initially, it was a small amount, but lately we were spending almost $2,000 monthly for his parents. I decided to talk to Lucas about it. I told him I wanted him to stop giving my earnings to his parents without asking me first, but his response was colder than I expected. He said, "You're earning money while relaxing at home, right? It's easy money, so why not let my parents use a bit of it?" I was shocked by his words. It felt like the last straw. I felt betrayed, confused, and sad. Even though we faced challenges with his parents and our different backgrounds, I believed Lucas was on my side. That reassurance shattered with his words. Lucas, who I thought understood my feelings and efforts, ended up joining those who mocked me behind my back. I remember our first date when he passionately talked about his work and shared dreams and values. I was drawn to his enthusiasm and sincerity. But lately, he seemed to have forgotten his dreams and passion, spending his days aimlessly, often engrossed in games. This was completely different from the person he was when we first met. Games aren't inherently bad, but his obsession made him neglect his passion for writing, which saddened and angered me. I started questioning if I should continue my future with Lucas. If our relationship continued, what would become of my life? Even when I tried to imagine a future with him, I could only see a bleak future. So I decided to divorce him and secretly began looking for a new place to live. I searched online for apartments suitable for singles and visited a few properties for viewing. I focused on apartments with a quiet living environment and strong security. Finally, I decided on one property. One day, when Lucas, who usually played games in his room, was out, my mother-in-law visited. I was surprised by her sudden visit, so I opened the door without waiting. She sat on the living room sofa and bluntly said, "Amelia, you should leave this place." I was too shocked to respond. "What are you saying all of a sudden?" I asked. "Isn't it obvious? You're bad at housework, and even after Lucas became a popular author, you haven't changed. Above all, you can't even work properly," she said. "But I've told you many times that it's a misunderstanding, haven't I?" I tried to explain, but my mother-in-law interrupted me, smiling gently. "I plan to live here in support of Lucas. Taking care of him is much better than looking after that noisy old lady." "By noisy old lady, do you mean Dee's grandmother?" "Yes, that woman who is technically my mother-in-law. Even though I've done so much for her, she always finds fault and shows no gratitude, and I'm fed up. If I live here, I can take care of Lucas, and he can focus on his work without any hindrance. Isn't that wonderful?" With that, she pulled out a piece of paper from the envelope she held. "So, would you please leave this house immediately?" As I listened to her words, I accepted the divorce papers she held out. "Did Lucas sign this?" I asked. "A little while ago, I suggested to Lucas that it might be better for both of you to get a divorce. It seems he was fed up with you too because he signed it without hesitation," she said with a playful tone. Everything that followed happened so quickly. I took my pre-packed bags and promptly decided to move to a new apartment. During the move, I also managed to file the divorce papers, and a new life began. My new life was smoother and more comfortable than I had expected. My small apartment had only essential furniture and appliances, and its simplicity seemed to boost my focus. I was free from complications, and each day was calm and peaceful. I'd wake up to natural light streaming in through the window and the sound of birds chirping in the distance. I could get up whenever I wanted, eat breakfast, and plan my day. When I started working, I'd get so engrossed that time would fly by. It felt heavenly not having to worry about the gaze and expectations of Lucas and my parents-in-law, and to be able to work at my own pace. One day, as I was engrossed in work at my desk, my smartphone vibrated. It was a call from Lucas. I hesitated, but decided to answer. "Amelia, please come back right now," a desperate Lucas pleaded. "Why would you want me to come back all of a sudden?" I asked. "To be honest, my parents found out I lied about being a popular author. I'm under immense pressure now. They're even talking about moving in, expecting to live off my earnings. So please, can you come back?" Lucas's voice trembled with desperation. "I see, but returning isn't that simple. You chose to sign the divorce papers, didn't you? So did I. We're not on the same path anymore, so deal with your issues yourself. It's none of my business," I responded firmly. His voice was a mix of desperation and sadness. "But I believe we should be together. Please come back." "We've chosen different lives now," I said firmly. "Hey, can you please take a moment to subscribe? Stay tuned for more captivating stories and updates." I could hear Lucas taking a deep breath on the other end. "I understand, but since the divorce, there have been many troubles and it's costing me a lot. I need assistance with expenses like the care fees for our parents and compensation for the chaos it caused." "Why are you suddenly talking about this? I think your decisions played a part in ruining all of my plans. How dare you? Remember when we were married, how you and your parents mocked me? I didn't want to say this, but now you seem like an enemy. Your financial troubles arise because you don't work properly. Find another way to sort it out. I wish you wouldn't rely on me for everything," I said, feeling a mix of frustration and anger. With that, I ended the call. Despite numerous subsequent calls from Lucas, I blocked him and changed my number. A few months later, I happened to pass by where his house used to be. Instead of his house, there was now just an empty land. A nearby resident told me about the recent disputes at his place, with the police getting involved at times. The neighbor's words seemed to contain all the emotions of the situation. You must have gone through a lot too. There must have been a lot of turmoil leading to the loss of his house, the neighbor said sympathetically. I stood there for a while, reflecting on our past. The unexpected outcome might be some kind of karma. Lucas's little lie had such a significant impact, more unbelievable than any story he might have written. From then on, I pledged to myself to live honestly, expressing my feelings and thoughts without lies or pretense, no matter how challenging things get. I recognize the importance of conveying the truth and cherishing genuine feelings. At the end of the day, how was the story? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome stories like this. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.